last session of the day one of Bhopal Literature and Arts Festival. Yes. भाई जितने भी हमारे मेहमान हैं सभी से निवेदन करना चाहूँगा, बैठ जाएं, एक सेशन बचा हुआ है, दिन भर से साथ हैं तो एक आखिरी सेशन में भी साथ बने रहें, क्योंकि अभी गेट पे बहुत भीड़ है तो जाने में टाइम लगेगा, इससे अच्छा बैठ जाओ. यस. दिस सेशन वंस अगेन मैं बताना चाहूँगा इस टाइटल्ड एज इंटरट्विनिंग लाइव्स, एन ऑडियो विजुअल टॉक ऑन हिंदी सिनेमा एंड म्यूजिक. मुझे यकीन है हम सब हिंदी सिनेमा को सुनते हुए देखते हुए बड़े हुए हैं. द ऑथर फॉर दिस सेशन सत्या सरन जी. आई थिंक शी इज amidst us. Yes, she is here. मैं चाहूँगा तालियों से हम सत्या सरन जी का स्वागत करें इस मंच पे. She is best known for being the editor of the Femina magazine for 12 years. She is also the author of a diverse variety of books. The dark side reflects her love of the short story, while the critically acclaimed biographies Years with Gurudat, Abrar Alvi's Journey, Sun Mere Bandhure, The Musical World of S.D. Burman, and Baat Niklegi To Phir. Yes? Okay, you were the editor for that same. Okay, amazing. And currently, she is the consulting editor with Penguin Random House India. जी हाँ, वो नाम हम सब पहचानते हैं. And Sathya ji also teaches fashion journalism at NIFT Mumbai, Kangra and Srinagar. मैं चाहूँगा जोरदार तालियों से हम उनका मंच पे स्वागत करें प्लीज. And as the discussion for this session, we are elated to invite Vertul Singh ji. जोरदार तालियों से उनका भी स्वागत होना चाहिए once again. Vertul Singh ji holds a postgraduate diploma in journalism and mass communication. He was commissioned in the Indian Army and left as a captain when he was selected for the CISF in the 1994 batch of the UPSC. Apart from his other assignments, he has also served as a spokesperson for the UN police in Kosovo and has been on deputation to the Ministry of Home Affairs. We are extremely delighted to have you, Mr. once again, and I would request both the dignitaries to please ignite this wonderful discussion. मैं चाहूँगा तालियों से let us get started for the last session. ऐसा लगना नहीं चाहिए last session है, पहले session वाला उल्लास दिखना चाहिए बिल्कुल.
Good evening, everybody. Just want to say how lovely it is to be in Bhopal. I've always wanted to visit this place, and I've been pestering Raghavji to invite me, and I think finally I succeeded. And thank you all for being here. It's going to be a storytelling session, and we're going to have a very interesting conversation. Do you want to start it off?
Yes, of course. First of all, I must ask you that this very आज की शाम का जो मजमू है Intertwining Lives, उसमें जो things that you have mentioned basically is जिसको हम लोग कहते हैं कि तारीख है इत्तेफाक, the date coincidences that you have mentioned very elaborately, and of course the अंदाज़ ज़िंदगी के इत्तेफाक, जो भी आपने शख्सियत अपने पूरे उसके लिए चुना है, चाहे वो एच डी बर्मन साहब हों, चाहे गुरुदत्त, चाहे आपके जगजीत सिंह, हरी प्रसाद चौरसिया, तो हम लोग को ये और तफसील से बताएं कि अब इंटरट्वाइनिंग लाइफ्स जब हम लोग बात करते हैं तो हाउ एग्जैक्टली यू वुड लाइक टू पोर्ट्रे इट.
अब मैंने ये सोच के तो नहीं लिखा कि सबके लाइव्स एक साथ हैं तो कुछ इसमें से निकलेगा. मैं एक किताब के बाद एक किताब लिखती गई बिकॉज मेरी इंटरेस्ट है इन फिल्म्स, इन ओल्ड फिल्म सॉन्ग्स, and it's nice to see some young people also here. But जैसे मैं लिखती गई तो मुझे 2-3 कोइंसिडेंसेस नज़र में आए. एक पहला कोइंसिडेंस जो मुझे ज़रा धक्का सा लगा था कि मैंने पहले गुरुदत्त पे किताब लिखी, जो अबरार साहब ने मुझे कहानियाँ बताई कि बिहाइंड द सीन्स क्या होता था हर फिल्म के. बड़े रोमांचक कहानियाँ हैं और वो बताते गए और मैं लिखती गई. एंड देन ही टोल्ड मी कि गुरुदत्त डाइड ऑन 10th October. I said, how unfortunate, that was the day I was born. You know. Then I wrote on Jagjit Singh, and I discovered he also died on 10th October. I said, I'm not guilty. मैंने कुछ नहीं किया. You know, I mean, these people in spite of me have died. You know, so that was one coincidence. Then I wrote on Hari Prasad Chaurasia ji, who is by God's grace still alive. The first person I wrote who is still alive. And he was born on the same day as Abrar Alvi, July 1st, who gave me the story of Guru Dutt's book. So that was another coincidence. And I said, ये कुछ coincidences हैं dates के. And I wondered if I should consult a numerologist कि इसमें है क्या? Are they asking me to write their stories or what?
So, we will be having some kind of a presentation by you on Guru Dutt?
No, we will have some music.
Music, okay,
Yes.
music. So, just since it will be basically a topic of conversation about intertwining lives,
We will.
a little bit of digression, if you may permit.
जी.
Guru Dutt, we all know that he has been, I will not call it influence, but rather affectation with the, and his cinematic muse has been based on P.C. Barua, that 40 का जो director थे. Whereas his entire film, what he has been making, was very film noir, new wave cinema, you know, based on that. So if you could just elaborate more on that, on Guru Dutt's style, Guru Dutt's this thing of.
I'd love to do that, but then it will go away from the subject. Is that okay with the people? Okay. Well, I think Guru Dutt was known right in the beginning for being a, whodunit movie maker. His guru was somebody called Gyan Mukherjee, and he was doing cops and robbers. बाजी जो उन्होंने बनाया, उसमें वो मॉल है, डेन है, गैम्बलर है, गैंगस्टर है, सब कुछ है. तो जब अबरार साहब उनसे मिले, ये मेरे किताब में है, जब अबरार साहब उनसे मिले, he said, ये कब तक तुम बैंग बैंग करते रहोगे? You have more in you than this. And that is how he turned him towards making more serious films. और उनका अबरार साहब ने तो इन्होंने गुरु दत्त ने बोला उनको कि अच्छा इतना अगर तुम्हारे पास आइडियाज़ हैं तो कोई एक आइडिया दे दो. तो अबरार साहब ने उनको उनके कॉलेज प्ले मिस्टर एंड मिसेस 55 का स्क्रिप्ट दे दिया. तो ही मूव्ड इनटू कॉमेडी.
This is interesting.
Yes, and then he did something else. There is this very, very searing story that Abrar Sahab told me about why Pyasa was made.
And that had a lot of effect of film noir.
Yes, the Pyasa was going to be made as a very simple story which Guru Dutt had thought, based on somebody who used to run the Chetana Art Gallery, who still runs it, the Chetana Art Gallery in Bombay. So he had met this lady and he said, इसको रेके मैं कहानी बनाऊंगा. It's not her story, but she is a woman who promotes young artists, and then when they start becoming famous, she drops them and picks up another one. तो ये कहानी था which Mala Sinha was supposed to play.
Something like Alka Kapoor, what we have now.
And then आएगी मारेगी आपको. तो then Abrar had another story, and one day when they were drinking, Abrar came up with this story and he said, मैं आपको एक सच बताना चाहता हूँ. बोले बोलो. He said, you know, I knew a sex worker. बोले अच्छा. He said, नहीं नहीं वैसे नहीं. I met her once with a lot of others, with my friends, or I refused to sleep with any of them, but मैं उसको बैठा के कहानी सुनाने बोल रहा था कि तुम इसमें कैसे आ गई, क्या हुआ, and we became friends. And as a writer, I was very curious to know her life. तो मैं उनके पास जाती थी और जाता था और कहानी पूछता था, and I was poor. So she would signal to me कि तुम यहाँ कोठे पे मत आओ, पैसे देने पड़ेंगे, तुम टैक्सी में बैठे रहो, मैं आती हूँ. टैक्सी वाले को और कहीं ले जाती थी, रात को बिरयानी खिलाती थी और कहानियाँ सुनती थी. एंड शी फेल्ट हैप्पी कि यू नो somebody is actually giving me respect. and I felt happy. मुझे कहानियाँ मिल रही थी to write. Then he got busy, Abrar Saab got busy with Guru Dutt's films and all that, and one day he got a message कि वो गुलाबो बहुत बीमार है, आप आके मिलो. So he went to meet her, and she had got married, she had left her profession, she had a little daughter, and the house was locked. So he said क्या करूँ? तो daughter said she's gone to the doctor, she's very sick. तो आप बैठो, वो आएगी. So he sits and she comes. And she is sick, she is like a shadow of herself. And she says, देखो मुझे टीबी हो गया है, मैं मर जाऊंगी, आप प्लीज़ मुझसे मिलते रहना. So he says, ठीक है, मैं हर Thursday आऊँगा. So he goes one Thursday and she says, नहीं, आप भूल जाओगे मुझे. He says, नहीं, मैं ज़रूर आऊँगा. So he goes 1 or 2 Thursdays और फिर वो busy हो जाते हैं, you know how it is when they're shooting a film. वो भूल जाते हैं. और एक दिन Gurudat tells him, तुम रीगल सिनेमा चले जाओ और वहाँ जो फिल्म है वो देखो, whether we can adapt it in some way. तो वो चले गए. When he was coming back, he says, I used to sit on the double-decker bus के ऊपर, और उसी गली से जा रही थी लैमिंगटन रोड से, और जनाजा निकल रहा था, और मैं नीचे देखा तो उसका मुंह दिखा मुझे. He says, that guilt कि वो Thursday है और उसी दिन वो मर गई मेरे लिए वेट करते करते. और गुरुदत्त से, अरे वाह क्या कहानी है, चलो इसको भी डाल देंगे इसमें. And that is how Gulabo entered Pyasa. The whole story turned. And let us watch how Wahida, now I'm not going to tell you the story, you're going to read it in my book. Gurudat discovered Wahida. Everybody knows this?
Yes.
Nobody is responding. So how he discovered it, you don't know. Because of a buffalo. If there was no buffalo, there was no Wahida in Hindi cinema. But I'm not going to tell you the story.
No, some kind of hint through your...
No, I'm going to show you what happened when Wahida came to Bombay as a dancer. She was going to dance in both CID as the vamp, and she was going to be the sex worker in Gulabo in Pyasa, because her body movements were good. She was a dancer in Hyderabad. So let us watch the first clip from Jaane Kya Tune Kahi, the introduction of Wahida in cinema. Sound.
जाने क्या मैंने सुनी, बात कुछ बन ही गई. जाने क्या तूने कही, जाने क्या मैंने सुनी, बात कुछ बन ही गई. जाने क्या तूने कही.
So that was a little jhalak of Wahida's first ever role in Hindi cinema. That film is counted till today as one of the best 50 films ever made in the whole world. Right? So let's clap for Guru Dutt. Okay, on to you.
My next question is, let's come to talk about S.D. Burman. Now, S.D. Burman, I always feel, and I have always been fascinated with the folk music element that he introduced in Bollywood. Particularly, let's say, Manjhi, Bhatyali, and there's another folk song. Baul Sangeet, correct, Baul. So, and I was reading this book by Javed Akhtar, his conversation with Nasreen Munni Kabir. There's a wonderful book in which Javed, who himself happens to be a big fan of S.D. Burman, he has said that he was a minimalist and who never believed, traditionally, music directors always had 100 pieces of orchestra and the choir singing effect.
Shankar Jayakishan
Naushad
used to have, yeah.
So something on that we would like to know.
अब S.D. Burman, I'm going to put my story with your story. Huh? So S.D. Burman was not meant to be a singer. He was a prince. His father was deposed, but he was still a prince. He was supposed to do law. He went to Calcutta from Agartala to do law and ended up learning music, much to his father's despair. Okay? Then he married a commoner, even much more to his father's despair. But when he was growing up in the palace of his father was a Drupad singer. तो सब बच्चों को लाइन से बैठा के शाम को they used to sing.
No effect on Shanti Niketan?
No effect. He didn't even like Tagore.
Okay.
हाँ, तो वो बैठा के गाना सबसे गवाते थे. Then he had 2 servants. One was a Bhatiyali singer.
Okay.
तो वो फिशरमैन कम्युनिटी का था, तो उसको वो नदी किनारे ले जाता था. He used to make flutes. That is why S.D. Burman was so fond of the flute, because he used to hear this man sing the Bhatiyali and play the flute. ठीक है? And the second servant used to sing shlokas from the Ramayana.
Oh.
So he got that lilt of the Ramayana. And ball singers used to go through the village because Maharaja का palace है. डिपोज महाराजा हुआ तो क्या हुआ, पैसा तो है, तो वहाँ से जाते थे. तो ये अपने धोती में और छोटे छोटे नंगे पैर से उनके पीछे 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 जाता था सुनते हुए.
Okay.
So this is how he absorbed all this, and then he had the classical training, and when he came to Calcutta and got the classical training. Now exactly like this, Hari Prasad Chaurasia was not supposed to be a musician. He was born into a restless family. His father would wake him up at 4 o'clock. He was known as Pehelwan Sahab. सुबह 4 बजे उठाते थे और 5 बजे उसको अखाड़े में फेंक देते थे, चल लड़. And Hariji says in his book कि मैं every morning I would be severely beaten. कोई ना कोई मेरे ऊपर बैठ के मुझे ठोकता है, धो रहा है मुझे, धुलाई कर रहा है, और फिर जब थक जाता था मैं उठ के चला जाता था. मतलब वो थकता था, मैं नहीं थकता था, मैं तो मर गया. So this is how it was. But उसने एक बार he learned कि मुझे म्यूज़िक अच्छा लगता है. He had heard his mother sing. He lost his mother when he was a child. तो वो रह गया कि मेरी माँ गाती थी. तो चोरी चोरी he started learning classical singing from his neighbor. अब शुरू जब किया उन्होंने, neighbor बोला अरे ये लड़का तो अच्छा गाता है. Then what happened? He said पर ये एक ही ऑक्टेव में गा पाएगा, इसकी आवाज़ ऊपर भी नहीं जा रही, नीचे भी नहीं जा रही. सो ही सेड देखो तुम्हारा सुर का अच्छा है नॉलेज, एंड यू हैव गुड ब्रेथ पावर, बिकॉज ही यूज्ड टू swim across the Ganges to steal fruit from the other side. So he had a lot of good breath, lung power. तो तुम breath के थ्रू गाना सीखो. So Hari ji says, मैंने सोचा क्या मैं कौन सा इंस्ट्रूमेंट लूँ. He said सस्ता टिकाऊ flute. No tuning, no strings, no leather, no चमड़ा, nothing. पॉकेट में छुपा लो, जब चाहिए निकाल के गा लो, बजा लो. So this is how he learned. So 2 people who shouldn't have been. Jagjit Singh again, not meant to be a singer. Father wanted him to be an IAS. He would have been sitting here with all of us. Yeah. But ये फेल होते गया.
जगजीत सिंह से पहले इनके हरिप्रसाद चौरसिया के बारे में ही, ये जब सिलसिला का म्यूजिक खास तौर से जब वो कंपोज कर रहे थे, तो that was probably for the first time that a very popular classical musical people, they were associated with that. That will be my next question on about Mughal-e-Azam and all that, कि classical singing का कैसे कहाँ से introduction हुआ. But Shiv Prasad Chaurasia, he was basically against Bollywood and a popular kind of music all through his life. What made him suddenly change over and try to make himself popular through a medium which he had always been speaking about in a very undertone?
No, that's absolutely wrong. Because he made his career, he started with All India Radio, and यहाँ बॉम्बे में जब उनको भेजा गया, पैसे कम पड़ रहे थे, तो मूनलाइट करते थे.
क्या करते थे?
मूनलाइट.
Oh,
he was doing चोरी काम for हिंदी सिनेमा. तो आप 50s और 60s, 61 में ही केम टू बॉम्बे, 60s से लेके 70s तक कोई भी गाना सुनिए, किसी भी म्यूजिक डायरेक्टर का गाना उस पे जो फ्लूट है वो हरि जी का है.
अरे वाह,
तीन शिफ्ट काम करते थे. हिज वाइफ सेज ही वुड कम होम एट अबाउट 12:30. हिज बैग विल बी फुल ऑफ मनी. हाँ, क्योंकि घर खरीदना था, गाड़ी खरीदनी थी, तो ऐसे ऐसे उठा के गाड़ी उसमें फेंक के ऐसे सो जाते थे. He would just fall into the bed and fall asleep because he was so tired. He would take his toothbrush in the morning and go. कि वो स्टूडियो में दांत मांज के the moment it starts he would start. So he would do 3 shifts a day. Everybody wanted him.
Okay.
So he was a Bollywood man. एक दिन उसकी वाइफ उनको टोक दी कि तुम पी 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 पू 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 कब तक करोगे. शी लिटरली आस्क्ड हिम दिस. मैंने उनको इंटरव्यू किया. शी टोल्ड मी दिस वर्ड्स एग्जैक्टली कि तुम पी 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 पू 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 कब तक करते बैठोगे, बिकॉज शी इज़ ए क्लासिकली ट्रेंड सिंगर. तो कुछ तो करो अपने साथ. एंड उनका ये कहानी आपको मालूम है ना कि 3 साल उन्होंने अन्नपूर्णा देवी के घर पे जाके वहाँ पे तपस्या किया कि यू हैव टू टीच मी. 3 साल. She wouldn't look at him, and he got.
So this is interesting. Okay.
And silsila happened after that. After he became a classically trained musician.
Yes, and probably the first music and first lyrics of Javed Akhtar also.
Yes.
Alone as a lyricist.
Because Yash Chopra saw कि ये पी 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 पू पू जो करता है, इसको कुछ बोलने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ती.
ये देखा ये ख्वाब तो सिलसिले हुए. Incidentally happens to be the first music of this composed and the first lyrics of Javed Akhtar as well.
Yes, yes. He did that. He got these 2 people, Shiv Hari, and he got because Shiv Hari had already done Call of the Valley.
Chaliye,
So they were a team.
my this mistaken question led you to elaborate on such wonderful things about Sathya. Now you can talk about Jagjit Singh. I interrupted you in that.
Jagjit Singh also, as I said, got into it by mistake. But that's okay now. I finished saying it. आप पूछिए. No, but then let me go a little bit more on Intertwining Lives.
Right,
that
right,
all
right.
3 were used to pushing the envelope. They were not contented with what they have. Right? तो जैसे हरि जी ने अन्नपूर्णा देवी के पीछे पढ़ ही गए, मतलब मैं नहीं जाऊंगा जब तक आप मुझे नहीं सिखाएंगे. And you won't believe his dedication. अन्नपूर्णा जी when she finally agreed, she said बजाओ, सुनती हूँ मैं. बजाया. बोले हाँ ठीक है, तुम बजा लोगे, मैं सिखा दूंगी. बट यू हैव टू अनलर्न एवरीथिंग यू नो. सो इंस्टेड ऑफ प्लेइंग द बांसुरी लाइक दिस, यू प्ले इट लाइक दिस. नाउ प्लीज इमेजिन व्हेन यू बांसुरी इज प्लेड बाय फिंगरिंग, you have to now teach your left hand fingers to know which hole to close, which to open, how to increase, how much pressure to put. He says मुझे आज अगर पार्किंसंस हो गया है उसी कारण हुआ होगा, क्योंकि इतना मुझे इसे ट्रेन करना पड़ा अपने आप को, कितना मुझे तपस करना पड़ा इसको सीखने. बट ही सेज मैं छोड़ा नहीं. जगजीत इक्वली स्टबन. ही सेड अब हो गया, 5-6 हिट्स हो गए, आई वॉन्ट टू डू समथिंग डिफरेंट. चलो मुझे लंदन चलो, मैं वहाँ पे रिकॉर्ड करूँगा. So they went. HMV actually took him to London, where they stayed in a hut, and they stayed in a house. Chitra was cooking for everybody, and they recorded Beyond Time, which was literally beyond time when it came out. That whole.
उनका Unforgettables.
हाँ, ये तो 4-5 एल्बम के बाद उन्होंने किया.
Unforgettables.
नहीं,
ये Beyond
Time. Because
वाला तो मैं याद है Unforgettables 70s में.
70s में आया.
No ma'am, लेकिन he had also launched Talat Aziz before that. Before Unforgettables
वो
came.
भी है कहानी मेरे किताब में. सब कहानियां हैं किताब में.
आप तो बताइए ना, कुछ हम लोग को हिंट दीजिए.
4 ही कॉपी है उधर, जल्दी से जाना. एनीवे, तो SD बर्मन और इसके बाद में देखिए एक बहुत सुंदर कहानी बताती हूँ. देन वी विल वॉच दिस क्लिप.
प्लीज.
SD बर्मन जब ऑल इंडिया रेडियो में थे और मूनलाइट करते थे, तो नॉट SD बर्मन, हरि प्रसाद जी, तो SD बर्मन के लिए भी वो फ्लूट बजाते थे. तो ये कहानी SD बर्मन की बुक में है कि एक दिन SD बैठे हैं और वो अपने कमरे में धोती कुर्ता पहन के हारमोनियम के साथ बैठते थे. और ऑल दी companies would be sitting here, and he is playing his thing, and he is thing, and then he is saying अच्छा तुम बजाओ तुम बजाओ तुम बजाओ. उतने में हरि जी आते हैं. घबराए हुए, लेट हो गया है ना, तो मुझे सॉरी सॉरी लेट हो गई, वो वहाँ से निकल नहीं पड़ा, बैठ जाते हैं। तो एसडी देखते हैं, बोलते हैं खाना खाया? नहीं खाया। ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं, चलो चलो शुरू करो। पीछे से कोई रसगुल्ले का डब्बा बाहर भेजता है। एसडी देखता है ये रसगुल्ले तो केसी दास के कलकत्ते से आए हैं मेरे लिए, ये बाहर क्यों आए? कुछ नहीं बोलते हैं। तो थोड़ी देर बाद बोलते हैं खाओ खाओ। बोले नहीं 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 मैं नहीं खाऊंगा। हाँ चलिए चलिए आप लोग चलें। बट चूहे दौड़ रहे हैं ना पेट में, तो एक रसगुल्ला गया अंदर। अब एक रसगुल्ला एंड वन चिप नोबडी कैन ईट, यू हैव टू, और वन पीनट। 2-3 तो खाना ही पड़ेगा। अब भूखे हैं तो 8 हो गए। और एसडी बर्मन देख भी नहीं रहा है, पूरा हो गया और रिहर्सल हो गया, सब हो गया। और जब ये जा रहे थे, एसडी साहब ने कहा कि कल तुम आ जाना, लता के साथ हमारा रिहर्सल है और उसके बाद आपका फ्लूट है, आप सुन लो और जो बजाना है आप तय कर लो। तो नेक्स्ट डे ही गोज़। तो लता के साथ रिहर्सल होता है, फिर लता ये बजाता है और एसडी बोलता है लोता खूब बजाया ना, मीठा मीठा। हाँ, तो लता ने बोला कि हमेशा तो मीठा बजाते हैं। इतने रसगुल्ला खाया, इतना मीठा बजाया। हरी जी से वो कभी मुझे बोलने नहीं दे कि उनके रसगुल्ले में खा डाला। So it's a very sweet story, but let us see one instance of how S.D. Burman and Hari ji collaborated. Khoya Khoya Chand. म्यूजिक तक हो सकता है, ये लंबा है।
आप अंदर नहीं आएंगे, मैं आप कितना
खोया खोया चाँद, खुला आसमान, आँखों में सारी रात जाएगी, तुमको भी कैसे नींद आएगी। ओ खोया खोया चाँद, खुला आसमान, आँखों में सारी रात जाएगी, तुमको भी कैसे नींद आएगी। ओ खोया खोया चाँद।
So that was Hari ji playing.
Yeah.
And no prompting, वो अपने आप बजाते थे। जहाँ म्यूजिक खत्म हुआ वो अपने आप फ्लूट उठा के उसको फिल इन करते थे।
ओके, वंडरफुल। और थोड़ा सा और अगर आप इलेबोरेट करें, कमिंग बैक टू गुरुदत्त, बिकॉज गुरुदत्त somehow or the other he has been a kind of a director or an actor together, which still fascinate people. Has he made any film based on novel? Like we have always found that Thomas Mann's novel Death in Venice, which was an iconic film as well.
Pathir Panchali itself is a novel.
Pathir Panchali, of course, and
Devdas is a novel.
Devdas is a novel. Okay, yeah, of course, Devdas is a novel. Gurudutt's owned some kind of this thing where he picked up a novel out of the blue and made it into a film, which was later known more as a film than a novel. You know, that's something which was.
Sahib Bibi Ghulam.
Oh.
Sahib Bibi Ghulam, if you look at the book, is this thick. और उसमें सब कुछ है। अबरार साहब ने कहा कि मुझसे बताया गया कि मैं साहिब बीबी गुलाम बनाना चाहता हूँ, क्योंकि उसमें कुछ एक कैरेक्टर मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा, छोटी बहू का कैरेक्टर। सो अबरार साहब से बोला गया कि उनका जो बंगाली स्क्रिप्ट राइटर है उनके साथ काम करो ना। अबरार साहब इज़ ए लिटिल बिट ऑफ अ टाइगर, किसी के साथ काम नहीं करते हैं। तो उनको वो पहले किताब देखा तो इतना मोटा था, वो भी बंगाली में था, तो उनसे पूरा सीख लिया कि इसमें क्या है। उसमें सब कुछ है, विवेकानंद है, फ्रीडम स्ट्रगल है, सब कुछ है उस किताब में, और बीच में ये ज़मींदार का स्टोरी है। हाँ, तो जैसे अभी किसी ने कहा ना राज़ी के बारे में, वो राज़ी भी इज़ टेकन आउट फ्रॉम अ बुक। It's part of a very much bigger book. तो वैसे ही इन्होंने कहा कि इसी का कहानी हम निकालेंगे. तो it is only the story of that zamindar's family and the love of a wife for a husband who doesn't care for her. That's it. And it's a very important part of Abrar's story, because Abrar Sahab was given the job of directing this film, because Guru Dutt was acting in it as a villager. Now Guru Dutt had the image of being very suave. He was always the smoking, wearing a hat, you know, and kind of staggering about, whistling. And here he had to play a villager. तो अबरार साहब ने कहा कि ऐसे करता हूँ मैं, पहले मुच्छी उड़ा दो, मुच्छी उड़ा दो, जूते उतारो, चप्पल पहनो, वो मोजरी किरकी किरकी वाले पहन के घूमो, क्योंकि यही तुम्हें कैरेक्टर बनना है. और अबरार साहब को एक ही बात की ये है कि nobody recognizes him as the director. So the book, he gives 4 chapters on Sahib Bibi Ghulam, proving that he was the director. But he said कि Guru Dutt did not let me do the songs. मैंने एक गाना रिकॉर्ड किया तो उन्होंने मुझे कहीं लोकेशन हंटिंग में भेज दिया और क्विकली रिकॉर्ड कर दिया दूसरा गाना, उसी गाने को फिर से रिकॉर्ड कर दिया. हाँ. तो वो आते थे और बोलते थे गाना मैं करूँगा, और उसका भी एक बहुत सुंदर कहानी है, पर आज मैं नहीं यहाँ नहीं बताऊँगी, वो पढ़ लेंगे.
और एक किसी इंटरव्यू में आपने ये भी बोला था कि ये सब दे आर ऑल जीनियसेस हु हैव यू नो जिनके आपसी जो वो रहे हैं काइंड ऑफ इंटरैक्शंस, तो उस पर थोड़ा सा और चर्चा करेंगे आप. जीनियसेस, व्हेन यू से दैट, हाउ डू यू इलैबोरेट दोज पर्सनालिटीज?
See, each one of them did something different. If you look at what Hariji did, in one lifetime he brought the flute, which was always considered rustic instrument,
Yes,
accompanying
yes.
instrument. उसको
Yes.
कभी center stage आने का मौका ही नहीं मिला. जैसे जाकिर साहब ने तबला को लाया, वैसे इन्होंने एक लाइफ टाइम में, generations लगते हैं सितार को लाने, for sitar was also considered a side instrument. तो उन्होंने एक लाइफ टाइम में फ्लूट को सेंटर स्टेज लाया as a classical performing solo instrument around the world. He teaches in Rotterdam University for the past 28 years. There are foreigners who know more about Indian classical music than any of us in this room. वो सब जानते हैं, राग के बारे में जानते हैं, कैसे बजाना जानते हैं, और घंटे बजाते हैं, घंटों बजाते हैं. So that is his genius, right? Then there is Jagjit, who took the ghazal, which is an old poetry form. It is not even a music form, but it has been converted to music by people like Begum Akhtar, Amir Khusro, many others before him. And he said, he wanted to be a playback singer. पर वहाँ रफ़ी बैठे थे, मुकेश थे, मन्ना डे, हेमंत कुमार, अब कौन इनको पैर रखने को जगह नहीं.
जगजीत का एक खासियत और था, क्योंकि हम लोग we were very young, but one thing, when I started learning guitar and started practicing, I used to find Jagjit's ghazals one of the best, because he has used a lot of Spanish guitar.
वही तो आ रही हूँ मैं.
And that is sorry to preempt you on that.
वही तो आ रही थी मैं.
We have a very good guitarist, rockstar sitting here. He would know that.
Come and play Jagjit songs for us. No, so he did that. He took the ghazal and he contemporized it.
Okay.
He said, this is great music, but I want also the words to be important. And he removed the sakhi and the मैं मरने के बाद मेरा मज़ार पे आना, all that rubbish from the ghazal. And he made it cheerful and he made it meaningful. A lot of meaning came into it, and now we are going to have trouble. Yes, you're going to stop us from these fascinating stories. No, don't stop us. All those 4 people will come and batter you at night. Anyway, no, I will finish now. Okay. So that was his genius. And if you look at S.D. Burman,
Of course.
when he was 4 decades, if you look at the songs of Millie, where she sings, मैंने पूछा फूलों से, बागों से, whatever, or the songs he did in Jewel Thief.
canvas बहुत बड़ा था.
No, and he made songs that were so modern, when he was an old man.
Yes,
He was really in his 70s, you know, but he was making songs that we jump around for, you know.
Guide, for example, pretty
Yeah.
late in his career he made
Correct,
that. Yeah.
correct. So,
अब आप खैर जाते जाते सत्या हम आपसे ये ज़रूर बताएंगे कि इतना इंटरेस्टिंग आपने बना दिया इस पूरे माहौल को, और मेरे दिमाग में तो बहुत सारे सवाल थे आपसे पूछने के लिए,
हाँ।
लेकिन
बाद में
शायद
पूछ लेंगे वहाँ
बाद में बात पूछेंगे।
डिनर
और
पे पूछ
आपसे
लेना।
इस औपचारिक माहौल इन दिस फॉर्मल फोरम के अलावा बैठ के मैं समझता हूँ कि अच्छा खासा 2-3 घंटा तो हम बिता ही सकते हैं।
नहीं ऐसे कीजिए, पहले किताब पढ़ लीजिए फिर आके पूछिए।
किताबें तो बेशक बेशक
नहीं नहीं मजाक कर रही हूँ, नहीं
नहीं,
जरूर
बिल्कुल,
बात करेंगे।
बिल्कुल, बिल्कुल।
एंड
So,
एनी
thank you.
क्वेश्चंस? आई हैव वन मोर सॉन्ग बट वी वोंट शो इट नाउ।
No, no, ma'am, you can show the song.
ओके, आई एम गोइंग टू टेल यू वन थिंग कि इन तीनों में सेंस ऑफ ह्यूमर बहुत था। अब जगजीत का तो मुझे पता नहीं, मैंने 1-2 बार मिला और एक बार अंडर वेरी ट्रेजिक सर्कमस्टेंसेज आफ्टर हिज सन हैड पास्ड अवे, तो वहाँ तो ह्यूमर का सवाल ही नहीं। पर अगर आप हरी जी से बात करेंगे ना, ही विल कीप यू इन स्प्लिट्स। एंड आई रिमेंबर वंस आई वाज टेलिंग हिम कि हम ऐसे ही बैठे थे ऐसे एक सेशन में, और हरी जी यहाँ बैठे थे एंड आई वाज हियर एंड आवर मॉडरेटर वाज हियर एंड समबडी सेड आपको तो आजकल का मॉडर्न कृष्णा कहते हैं। बोले हाँ गोपियाँ तो है। So you know that kind of humor. And Jagjit, when he started, he wouldn't look up when he sang. You know, he would sit like this and sing continuously the whole 3.5 minutes. But towards the end, he started understanding his audience. And whichever state he was in, he would crack a joke about using people from that state. So if he's in Haryana, he will say, oh, Sardar ji ka joke. If he's in Tamil Nadu, he will say, oh, Iyer sahab ne aise kaha. So the audience feels so
connect he used to
कनेक्ट हो जाता था। तो मैं एक जोक भी बताने वाली हूँ एंड यू विल लाफ। हाँ, कि एक बार वो बोल रहे थे कि वो दारू का दुकान के ओनर को फ़ोन आया 6 बजे कि आपका दुकान कब खुलता है? ये चल आज तो बंद हो गया, कल सुबह खुलेगा। अच्छा जी ठीक है, नो वो प्रॉब्लम, रख दिया। 7:30 बजे आया, आपका दुकान कब खुलता है? बोले कल सुबह, डोंट वरी, आप आ जाओ सुबह, मेरा दुकान खुला होगा आज। 9 बजे आया, सर आपका दुकान? बोले हाँ कल सुबह। अच्छा मैं अभी खाना खा रहा हूँ। हाँ अच्छा ठीक है। 11:30 बजे, सर आपका दुकान कब खुलेगा? बोले कल। क्यों? मैं अंदर बंद हूँ। So this is the kind of jokes he did, and we are going to end with Jagjit Singh talking to his audience to show you how he captured his audience. The last song, बात निकलेगी तो फिर, और ये पूरा देखेंगे और we close. I promise I won't open my mouth.
I won't ask you any question either.
बात निकलेगी तो दूर तलक जाएगी। इस नज्म की भी एक कहानी है। ये नज्म छपी थी एक मैगजीन में, शायद शमा में छपी थी, तो मैंने वहाँ से उतारी थी। और मैं एक एल्बम कर रहा था एज ए म्यूजिक डायरेक्टर, और मेरे सिंगर थे भूपेंद्र सिंह। तो सबसे पहले नज़म मैंने उनसे ये गवाई थी उस एल्बम के लिए। खैर किसी वजह से वो एल्बम बनी नहीं, बीच में रुक गई। फिर उसके बाद इस नज़म को एक रिकॉर्ड किया गया एक फिल्म के लिए। उस फिल्म का नाम था शाशा। बड़े मशहूर राइटर थे अर्जुन दे रश्क, उनकी फिल्म थी। वो भी फिल्म बनी नहीं, लेकिन मैं भी पूरा ढीठ था। तो मुझे जब HME ने ग्रीन सिग्नल दिया कि अब आप LP कर सकते हैं, तो सबसे पहले मैंने इस नज़म को रिकॉर्ड किया। बात निकलेगी तो दूर लोग बेवजह उदासी का सबब पूछे, लोग बेवजह उदासी का सबब पूछे, ये भी पूछे कि तुम इतनी परेशान क्यों हो। उंगलियां उठेंगी सूखे बालों की तरफ, एक नजर देखे गुजरे सालों की तरफ। चूड़ियों पर भी कई तंज किए जाएंगे, कांपते हाथों पे भी फिक्रे कसे जाएंगे। लोग जालिम हैं, हर एक बात का ताना देंगे। लोग जालिम हैं, हर एक बात का ताना देंगे। बातों बातों में मेरा जिक्र भी ले आएंगे, उनकी बातों का जरा सा भी असर मत लेना, वरना चेहरे के तासुर से समझ जाएंगे। चाहे कुछ भी हो सवालात ना करना उनसे, चाहे कुछ भी हो सवालात ना करना उनसे। मेरे बारे में कोई बात न करना उनसे, बात निकले तो दूर तलक जाए।
Thank you, Sathya. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, both the personalities, for such an insightful session. It was very fascinating, ma'am. Now, I would like to open the floor for the audience to ask the relevant questions.
Can I ask a question, ma'am? Yeah, thank you, ma'am, for sharing so many priceless gems. All of us love Guru Dutt, and everybody loves Guru Dutt. Seen all his movies. One question which always haunted me was, who were the, say, Hollywood directors or any other Western directors whom he admired? Or did he take any inspiration from any of them? That's my question. And I have a comment on that, because in this very Bharat Bhavan, in this fantastic place to watch old movies, there was once a movie called Il Grido. It's a 1958 movie by Michelangelo Antonioni. And in that movie, you know, it's just like in Kagaz Ke Phool, where he's no longer the director, and he goes back to that place, and then he climbs that, you know, the tower there, and then he dies, the final scene where he dies. It's a similar scene. Il Grido ends with a similar scene where he's out of work, the factory worker. He climbs that kind of a tower, which is a very similar structure, which you can see. And then the difference is that he just falls down and commits suicide. So when I saw Il Grido, I thought, no, maybe, because that was in 1958, Il Grido, and Kagaz Ke Phool just came about a year after that.
I don't think they made a film one in a single year. There may have been an influence, but yes, it is true that all these great directors borrowed from one another. Bicycle Thieves was one of the biggest influences in every director's life, just as Guru Dutt is a big influence on every director's life today, you know. And he would actually copy some of the films, like CID was made on another film called The Man with My Face. It was based on that. Of course, he Indianized it and he brought in a vamp and he brought in song and music and dance. तो वो करते थे, and if you look at the song, he made S.D. Burman steal a tune from the background music of a film called Harry Black and the Tiger. तो S.D. Burman ने बोला मारेगा, पब्लिक मुझे मारेगा अगर मैं कॉपी करूँगा तो he said नहीं, पर बॉस ने बोला, this is Abrar's story to me, बॉस ने बोला करना पड़ेगा. So S.D. बर्मन का जीनियस इतना था कि वो ट्यून को निकाल के उसने ऐसे सर जो तेरा चक्रा ये बनाया कि जब हैरी ब्लैक एंड द टाइगर का डायरेक्टर इंडिया आया, he saw the movie and he complimented him on that song. He didn't recognize his own tune.
One last question.
Yeah. 4 hands, 4 questions. We are only going home after this.
Please just keep your questions question this thing only. Yeah, short. We'll have.
Ma'am, Guru Dutt was considered a very brave director. Then why he stopped making films after Kagaz Ke Phool?
Because he died.
He stopped making films as a director for 14 years before he died. What was the reason behind that?
No, did he? No. He was making a film when he died. He was making Baharein Phir Bhi Aayengi. He had even acted in it. They had to reshoot when he died. They had to get Dharmender in and because he got disillusioned with the film, he was saying, मुझे नहीं करना. He used to scrap a lot of films. शुरू करके he used to abandon them if he didn't find it good. Like you abandon a book when you're reading it, you know, ये इसमें मज़ा नहीं आ रहा. या serial देख रहे तो नहीं, इसको नहीं और कुछ देखेंगे. He used to do that. So he was shooting a film. No, it was not 14 years. He didn't live that long. Oh God, that's I'll have to do eeny, meeny, miny, mo because I don't have a favorite. They're all, I mean, you know, when I write a book, I live in that person's space. Like when I was doing Jagjit, I only heard Jagjit songs. When I was doing Hariji, I heard the flute. I went wherever he was performing. I went to Bhubaneswar and did Hartal in his Gurukul saying, "Aap mujhe time do, nahi to main mar jaungi." You know, I have to write this book. I have to write it. I'm not going to let you go. So I live that person's life. Guru Dutt's. 2 saal. I used to go from work, which is in BT, in Times of India building. I would take a train. I would go to Andheri. Then I would take a bus and I would go to Abrar Sahab's house. Then I would finish that. I would take a bus and come to Andheri, take another bus and go to my house, which was in the opposite side. So I did this for 2 years. Huh? Yeah, one family is here, one is in Nagpur. I mean, there's an amazing story about how I got to write this book with Abrar Sahab because he turned out to be my in-law's neighbor. When Jagjit Singh's son died, Jagjit Singh died with him. Literally died with him. 6 mahine ke liye he did not do anything. Neither they attended seances. They used to go and call his spirit. This Chitra told me, and it's in the book. They used to call his spirit and they would talk to it, you know. And then after 6 months, Jagjit said, "मुझे और ये नहीं करना, इससे मुझे और दुख हो रहा है." So then he stopped. Chitra stopped singing, and Chitra says, he wanted to go back to music. So he would sit in the music room and just strum his tanpura. He would not do anything. He just strum his tanpura, and he started singing devotional music, started doing a lot of charity. And this is supposed to be addressed to his son, though it is not his poem. It's not. But it is not written by him. It is written by somebody else, but he chose it because he felt it is for his son. तीसरी कसम. हाँ, हाँ. No, why would I mention it? Is it in my book? No. No. It's in my next book, incidentally. It is, for sure. I'm writing another one. It is. It's an amazing movie, and I watched it twice because it is in my next book. Oh, उसका भी कहानी है. वो उस किताब में पढ़ी है.
We'll be looking forward to it, ma'am.
Are we done?
Yes.
Okay.
So,
Can I sign off with one small sentence?
yeah, sure.
That I write these books not for profit. You can't live off books, as any writer will tell you. I write it because I think the lives of these people mustn't be forgotten. Their tapasya must remain, their sadhana must go down to the younger generation and inspire them. Right? So please read them. Thank you.
That's a beautiful thought. To please come forward and present a memento to our speakers. Thank you everyone for being here today. So this was all about day 1 for Bhopal Literature and Art Festival 2023. We'll be resuming tomorrow with the sessions at 10 a.m. in the morning. Hope to see you all tomorrow as well. We have some amazing sessions awaiting us tomorrow. We'll begin with Crash and 6 Lenses for Best Corporate Management. We have Russia-Ukraine war lessons. Then we have the very insightful session by Kabir Bedi, A Life Extraordinary. Kabir Bedi in conversation with Raghav Chandra ji. Then Conflicting Perspectives and Writing of History. Our Pakistan Conundrum. Eating in the Age of Dieting, Sadhguru, More Than a Life. Politics and Theology, Do They Make Good Bedfellows? Reforming Governance, Regulating Sport. Empathy as a leadership sign. So, कल भी बने रहिएगा.